you're going to Disney next week, right?
Next week. Yep, we leave on Monday. So
Do your kids know yet?
No. Well,
when are you telling them?
Knows.
Oh,
I don't know. Yeah, my oldest knows because he saw it in my phone. He was scrolling through my calendar in my phone, and I had it in like all caps. And he was like, he like looked at me, and then he like started scrolling really fast. But like I said, he's my anxious kid, so I actually think it's good that he knows, like him having some time to prepare, and it's good. But yeah, my other kids don't know. I feel like maybe they're catching on. Like they know we're going on a trip, they know we're getting on a plane, but they don't know all the details. So I don't know when we're going to tell them. I'm trying to decide. My parents decided to come with us last minute, which is really nice for me because that's going to be so much help just to have extra hands.
Totally.
But they're going to freak out when they find out that my parents are coming.
You should just wait until you get there.
That's kind of what I thought. And like, we might just like go into the airport. Our local airport is very tiny. So I'm like, we might just like not tell them anything and then like tell them at the airport, or maybe like have my parents have something to tell them, or I don't know.
Well, how fun. How fun. Oh, what a great thing. And reselling made it possible.
Literally, reselling paid for every bit of it. So,
how incredible. Well, okay. If you are still with us, we're going to talk today about, kind of reseller 101 and things that we would tell new resellers. We're actually going to do a live once Amanda's back. We're going to start doing a monthly live, on our Substack that we haven't started yet, but that will be started, and where you can actually come and we'll have different guests who are on the podcast, and we will be taking questions and answering them live about reselling. So, or life or whatever.
Anything.
And remember, we're not experts. But we can tell you things that we have done and what we have learned. So,
kind of speak from our experiences. And like we've said, we don't ever want to come off as like experts on it. We just want to share our experiences. And it's nice that like we kind of do things differently, which I think is so good for this because you can hear like a lot of different ideas.
Yeah. So let's pretend you have a friend who calls you and is like, hey, I want to get into reselling. I've been selling some things on Craigslist, on Facebook Marketplace. I see you're going to Disney. How do I get started?
Yeah, so I had one of my really good friends, probably my best friend in high school. She asked me this, I don't know, a year ago, maybe. It was a little bit after I started Whatnot. And I think people in my personal life really started to see what I was doing. Beforehand, it was like pretty hidden from everybody. And she did. She texted me and she's like, okay, if I want to do this, like, how do I list on eBay? Should I start on Poshmark? Should I start on eBay? Like, what do I do? And it is kind of fun to be able to break it down. So this is just like off of the top of my head, what I recommended to her and what I would probably recommend to you. And then I want you to jump in if there's like anything you would change or like different advice, because I know everyone has like their opinions. I feel like for me, I always recommend that someone starts with Poshmark. I feel like Poshmark is the easiest platform to use. The shipping is easy. You don't have to like be really detailed, create your own label or anything. They just email you a label as soon as you sell an item. And also like there's not a lot of the technicalities that there used to be with like having to share your closet a lot and stuff. I know we still do that, but I don't know if it makes as big of a difference as it used to. So I would always recommend starting with Poshmark, and I probably sound like a broken record, but I will say this time and time again, sell things you already have. One, it's good, really good practice. It's good practice because you've already paid for it. Either you're going to donate it or throw it away or sell it for $5 on Facebook. Like, this is good practice for taking pictures, for making listings, for figuring out all the kinks without like any overhead. And then the best part about that is then once you sell those items, you can take the money you sold and then you can start sourcing with that money, because the goal is you never want to go in debt for reselling because it's absolutely unnecessary. You can. And if you want to, or if you have like money set aside where you want to go and source a lot, you totally can, but you don't need to, because you can roll your money and just source bigger and bigger the more money you make. So that's what I would always recommend is start with Poshmark. I think pretty quickly you should start branching out to other platforms. How many platforms do you list on?
5.
Yeah. I mean, I 100% recommend it.
How many?
So right now I'm Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, Depop. I just started listing a little bit on Vinted.
You
do Vestiaire, don't you?
You can't do it with.
I need to.
Yep. You can't do it with Nifty though. I think the only one does PrimeList I think you have to do it with Vendu.
Yeah, I'm currently using Nifty. That's another little thing. I've been using PrimeLister for 3 years. I am testing out Nifty because Nifty cross-lists to Whatnot.
Interesting. So does
Two
Vendu.
things on Whatnot. Oh, really?
Yeah. I think you should test out Vendu again.
I think I should too. Yeah. I just asked Prime Lister. I was like, do you guys have any plans to cross-list to Whatnot? Because it's really nice. And where I'm doing shows every week, it gives pretty much eyes on my whole entire Poshmark closet. Every single time I do a show, hundreds of people are seeing that. You know what I mean? So it's hard to like pass that up. But yeah, I think I need to start Vestiaire though, because I have so many high end items that I just cross-listed them to Vinted. And I'm like, I don't know that those are going to do anything over there. Cause I think a lot
Vinted
of that
is like Depop.
Yeah, exactly. Like lower end, more like
or it's high end. There is high end, but it is the prices are low. Yeah. You're going to get low prices. I'll send you the link for the professional since you have an LLC. You can be a professional.
Totally.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
You get different fees and stuff. So I'm going to build on what you said because I did the opposite and I took my money that was in my bank account and I invested it all, which I shouldn't have done. But hindsight is 2020 and I am doing reselling more to keep my skills up than anything and to like pay my Target bill and, things like that and to not have to ask my husband for money. Not that he wouldn't give it to me, but I just want to I don't want to have to start budgeting. So that's why I start reselling. Yeah. So it's different. And my tip to build on, start with what you have is invest in your tech. And that includes your thermal printer. That includes a lighting source. And the lighting is like optional and your platform, your relisting and your offer platform. So I have tried a few. This is not sponsored. We hope to be sponsored one day, but this is not sponsored. And I will tell you, I have tried Nifty. And I will tell you what I like about them. I think it is the easiest platform to use for cross-listing for all of that. What I don't like is that they are not integrated with Vestiaire. So I won't use them. I have tried Vendu, which I currently use, and I have found it does take longer with them. And there are kinks, like if you edit a title in one platform as you're cross-listing, it will unlink everything. And so you have to go in and delist it yourself. Like there are a lot of kinks in a lot of these platforms that you might not know about. So maybe I'll do, you know what? I think I want to do on one of these live sessions, kind of like a training session on how to use Vendu and Prime Lister, like separately. Yeah. And maybe those will be sponsored, but so. And then, you can do offers through a lot of these platforms, but I also pay for Prime Lister for my offers because I have experimented with just doing them through Vendu, setting all the conditions the same. It does not perform as well. My sales essentially tanked when I stopped using Prime Lister. So I am kind of a lifer on Prime Lister, I think, regardless of what I use to cross list. But I don't use them.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you just for a second because you just like sparked something. So I told you like, I listed all these Maui gyms and I made like $2,000 in 24 hours. It was probably closer to 48 hours. Like it was just crazy. And then I signed up for Nifty and my sales have been a lot slower. And I'm so interested. So maybe I'll turn my Prime Lister back on because I technically have both of them right now.
Yep.
Because I'm just a tester. Like I think I'll always be a tester. I want to know like what the best stuff out there is. So I'm going to report back next episode. So you guys stay tuned for that. But after this, I'm going to go turn off my Nifty and turn on my Prime Lister and see what happens.
Something is weird about I don't know what they do, but Prime Lister is like, I literally had no sales in January one year because I turned it off and I was like, and then I was like, well, could it be this? And then I just toggled it back on. And I think the next day I got sales.
Like instantly.
Yeah. And so, I would do that. I would cross list. The thermal printer is really important and I need to add it to like my storefront because it is so expensive to print. Or if you don't have a printer to like Poshmark doesn't have the QR codes like Vinted and Depop. So with your thermal printer, you don't have to buy ink. You just have to buy the paper and the printer. And I think I got mine for like $50, maybe 70.
Oh, yeah.
And then the paper is like $20. Yeah. And you're going to spend more than that, like ink cartridges are more expensive. So I would highly suggest that. And then it was really hard for me to invest in my platforms. But once I did, like in my cross lister and my Prime Lister, because I was like, well, if I sell this, and I think that it just will make your sales more. So there is a little bit investment up front. And again, you can sell things and then get this stuff. But if you have $150 to invest it. So sell something on Facebook Marketplace. Yeah. And then, Vendu also integrates with Facebook Marketplace, which is great.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's huge. That's really cool. I will say,
yeah.
I always say this with cross-listing is that cross-listing or the sharing platform, whatever you use, you might pay like what, $25, $30 a month per software, but that's like one sale, two sales, and it pays for it. And so if it's making you make 20 times the amount of sales you had been making, you're paying yourself. And it's paying for itself is what I'm saying. So it's worth it. It's worth it. One item, one sale, two sales is going to pay for it. And you're going to make more than that. So
yeah. And then to build on that too, that thought of like, investing ahead of time, invest in a storage unit, like get a storage unit. Because, and I know you keep your stuff in your house, but you have your personal things in a storage unit. But either way, you're not having to step over things in your household. It's not like my son falls all the time.
Designated spot.
Yeah, whether it's an office
house or outside, but have a designated spot. I could not agree with that more because the clutter makes me crazy. It makes me crazy.
Yeah. And I would also say make sure it's climate controlled and safe and gated, and get to know your storage folks well. I know my storage people very well.
That's awesome.
Because I'm in there all the time. And so I treat it like my workspace. So those are kind of the things I would build on top of yours. And then inventory, I would say organizing inventory. I did not do that. So just even if you put it all in a tub, being like, I know yours is done by category. So you have all your shirts in one tub, all your men's shirts in one tub, all your women's shirts. So figure out how you're going to store stuff because honestly, it's a nightmare. I always can't find things. Like as I'm selling more, I'm able to find more because obviously there's not as much. Yeah. So those are, mine are more logistical because I am so type B and I am such a shopaholic. So those are my tips.
No, I get it. I do think like there is something to be said for just like getting organized from the beginning. And again, that's not a necessity. You really can start with nothing. If that's what you have, you can. I don't want anyone to feel discouraged like they have to do all of this. But if you have literally $100 to do this up front and to be able to just like get off on the right foot, if you're planning on like taking this seriously, it is absolutely worth it to just do it from the beginning.
Yeah. Or even, I don't even know if you have to take it seriously because even if you're selling your stuff around the house, having that thermal printer is so helpful to just get it out and you don't have to think about it. Oh, so another thing too is you can use packaging from wherever. So if you use your Amazon boxes, whatever, but on eBay, if you have a storefront, so this is something kind of like phase 2. Once you have enough on eBay to get a storefront, which I did not know about, you actually save money having a storefront. It's like $60 a month. You have a storefront and you get, I think it's like $30 or $50 worth of free packing materials.
Yeah.
So if you would do that or free packaging, you can also order it from Poshmark. So make sure you have packaging. You don't want to be sending things like willy-nilly because they will get damaged and that is a whole thing.
Yeah, and that is a nightmare. So if you could pick like your top 2 platforms, what would it be?
Honestly, I love Etsy. My average order value on Etsy is really high and same with Vestiaire, but Poshmark, I think Poshmark, I would say just as like your standard, I really agree with you on the entry point. Poshmark is so easy to start, but I also think Depop, like the stakes are really low on Depop. And
Depop is just gaining steam, I feel like. I feel like it's just getting more and more popular. A lot of people are shopping on there.
And it's really easy to use and the shipping is really easy too. So I would say Poshmark to start off with, Poshmark and Depop. The thing with all of these platforms is they have different fees, right? So Poshmark has a 20% fee on anything you sell. So just if you're going to sell a shirt for $80, price it at $100 so that you or whatever your offer is going to be. I always price up because I know I'm going to send a 20% offer immediately. So I price things up. And this is getting very in the weeds if you're brand new. So maybe this is a 2.0. But yeah. And then on Depop, are there fees or is it only if they're boosted? I know if it's boosted, it's 12% fee, but it's free otherwise, right?
There are fees. Yeah. I don't think there are fees anymore. There used to be.
And shipping is like $1.99 to $3.99.
Yeah. Shipping is so cheap. I didn't realize how cheap it was.
It's gone down a lot. So they were doing free shipping and then TikTok ruined that and now it's still cheap. Yeah, and then I hear Vinted is doing free shipping now too.
Yeah, right now Vinted is free shipping. I listed 20 items a couple days ago. I haven't sold anything yet, but I'm wondering if I listed the wrong items. I listed
Maybe.
like maybe too many high-end items. I'm going to go in and drop like some of my lower, like they're still good brands because I only list my good brands. Everything else I put in my whatnot shows. So they're still good items, but just like maybe the ones that are under $100. Because I listed a lot of things that were over $100. Maybe that's not the target market. Okay, this is like a little tip that I want to give people if you are worried about fees on platforms, because I hear this all the time. Like, I don't want to pay this platform a fee. Like 20% is outrageous. And I want to give like maybe a little perspective shift on this. I don't know if I've told this much, but years and years ago, it was like before COVID, right after my third child was born, I ran like a little online clothing boutique. It didn't last that long, but it really was like my segue into reselling. So I'm grateful for that business. But I just want everyone to think about the amount of effort it takes to market your business when no one knows who you are, the amount of money it takes to create a website, and the amount of time it takes to load shit onto a website, and all of the stuff that goes into, and the amount of hours you are spending marketing your business to find customers. Okay. So whether you're paying for like meta ads or whatever to get your business in front of people, or whether you're just spending like so much time creating content, you are in charge of all of the marketing for that business. No one's going to find you. There are
There's no built-in audience
out there on the internet. There's not. You have that with Poshmark, with eBay, with all of these platforms. They are literally giving you customers. You just have to make sure you're writing the correct titles and you have desirable items. So for me, I have never once batted an eye at the percentage that I am paying to a platform or that they're taking, because I'm not doing any of that marketing work or any of that back end work to acquire customers. And for me, it's almost like tenfold worth it, because it cuts down on the amount of work when you already have a marketplace that is doing all that work for you. I mean, think about how much money like Poshmark is spending in commercial ads, or like, like all of these ads. So don't feel too bad about them taking a fee, because they're doing a lot of the work for you.
Totally. And I know it's different in clothing selling versus tech, but in tech, like your customer acquisition cost is honestly like sometimes hundreds of dollars. So if you think about it in terms of that, like I don't have a lot of repeat buyers on Poshmark. Do you?
I don't either.
Okay. Yeah. So I just pulled my data the other day and I started getting in my head. I have a few, but I was like, oh my gosh, I've sold, like 1,200 items. Why don't I have more repeat buyers? And then I realized it's not how people buy on there. That is how they buy on Etsy. That is how they buy on, I think probably Etsy is the only one. Because it's more just by the algorithm and what you're being shown. And if you're looking for a silk blouse and I don't have one, well, why are you going to look at my shop?
Exactly.
So, so I would say, the customer acquisition cost, because I went through the same thing. I was like, I did bat an eye at all of these platform fees, because I was like, but then I realized I could just price up. You can do a lot of different things. But you're not going to want to do that right away. It's just like when you get started, start simple. So I want to talk about the listings next. So you have a shirt from your husband or from your mom or your son or whoever it is. Where do you recommend that someone starts?
So are you wanting me to like walk you through like how I would list it?
If your cousin comes to you, like your friend who came to you and they're like, I need to make a listing, because I made so many mistakes with my first listing. For example, I was taking them on the carpet or wherever and the lighting wasn't great. My title described what it was. And then I had like a 1-sentence descriptor, and then I just went about it and that was it. And I still have a ton of those listings because that's how I did it. So
and they'd probably sell better if you were doing it how you do now. Okay, so this is exactly how I do it. This is a good example. I'm going to move my camera for just a second. So I have a big window right there. This is my door. You probably can't see it, but I have a clear command hook right there. That is how I take my pictures. I used to be much more involved with this. I would take the pictures with good lighting, but then I would also move them into Photo Room, which is an app that will remove the background. And
Vendu does that for you. Vendu does the background.
Yeah, that's nice. See, for me, I think I just realized I was spending too much time on listings for the amount of money I was making. And I still sell so much stuff. So for me, it wasn't like enough of a return for how much time I was spending. You can do that if you want. Look up Photo Room if you would like that. But a white background is fine. The most important thing is that you have good lighting and that people can see the details on the garment. They need to be able to see what they're looking at. You don't want it to be blurry. They need to have like accurate colors. I think that's something you're going to have a lot of frustrated buyers if they're buying something and they're like, oh, that looked navy. When I got it, it was cobalt blue. Like you need to be able to, and of course, it's not a perfect science. Like there's some colors are harder to photograph than others, but you want to get it as close to the real, like true color as possible. So I would just take it on a clean background. I think a door works good. If you have a window behind you where you're not like casting a shadow on the item, that is going to be fine enough. And then if you want to get more like fancy down the road, you absolutely can. And then for listings, okay, one thing I want to run through is like what pictures should you be taking? I would say like take a picture, obviously, of like the front and the back, the size tag, and then the care tag. A lot of people leave that out. And if you leave that out, you're going to get questions like, what's the composition of this? I know you probably have to be really careful about that with like vintage stuff. I'm sure that's even more important.
You can't actually list on Vestiaire. You have to do it in a specific order. So that's the order I do. Front.
Interesting.
Brand tag and size tag. Next picture. So there's 4 in a row. The next picture is the composition of the materials. I also include whether it's dry clean or not. I take a picture of that. And then the back. So they have it in a very specific order, or like on shoes, it has to be the front of the shoes, the brand. Again, it's the same thing. And then the back of it. And so if you're going to list on a Vestiaire, for instance, I would just do it in that order as well. And then you can take additional, like if they have cool buttons or like you can't get the detail of the fabric.
I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that. I do that a lot with like, especially black items. Sometimes I'll do like a little off-centered picture so you can actually see like the detail, which you don't sometimes get always from straight on. So yeah, I think any like little detail shots that are going to make that garment more special, I think is a really good idea to add. And again, taking pictures really doesn't take that long. Like I'm just using my iPhone. I'm not using anything fancy, just snapping pictures really quick. And do you put your pictures in like a square mode or anything special? I used to, I don't anymore.
I take them directly in Vendu. So my workflow is I open my Vendu app on my phone. I take the pictures and then I do my measurements because that is a recommendation. I know you do not do that, but for me, I do measurements now, which I did not used to when I started. And I don't do them on every garment. For instance, if I'm selling a Princess Polly, I'm probably not like if it's like a modern thing or something that's new with tags and modern, I'm not going to do the measurements. Because people kind of know their sizing or they can look that up. I'll put like the size chart in there. But on all of my stuff now, I do my pants. I do like 7 measurements. I do the waist, the rise, the thigh, the inseam, the leg opening, the outseam. So there's a lot that goes into it, which I know you do not do. But if you are selling jeans and they are not modern and they're not new with tags, I did not know this when I started. A lot of people tailor their jeans. So a lot of people, which I was not aware. So I thought that if a Levi's pair was a 32-32, it was going to be a 32-32. When you actually go to measure these things, oftentimes they've had them shortened.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so I was getting people being like, well, this said it was this size and Poshmark will approve that return, even though it's marked as the size on the garment. So you can fight it, but I also kind of feel like it's not fair to the customer. So
like you want to give them something that's going to fit them.
I also remove the background. So Vendu I have the highest package and you can remove 1,500 images or 1,500 backgrounds. And so it's just a click one button and it removes all the background of all of your images. And so I do that not on the care tags, but on the garment itself, just because it makes it look nicer. And Depop, I believe, does that. Do they do that automatically? I don't know.
I like that. Yeah,
Vestiaire does it automatically on your first picture because they want it all to be uniform. So,
that makes sense.
Because if you're going out, so that's also why I stopped doing them just in my phone. But I will say the Vendu camera doesn't capture the color as well. So often I will, now I'm finding that I have to go in because the sun is so bright right now. I have to go into my photos, take the photos there and maybe change like the style, like kind of like a filter a little bit and then put them in. So that is kind of my workflow, but I wish I would have known about keywords and and I did know about keywords. I just didn't know that the algorithm was so based on keywords. I thought it was more based on images.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot about like SEO and search engine optimization, not even necessarily for Google, but for these platforms. Like what is someone going to be searching when they're looking for these items? So once you have the pictures, the next thing you're going to need to do is create the listing. So we've talked about whether you use Vendu or you just use your phone or however you want to do it, you're probably going to want to mess around with it a little bit and figure out like what works best for you. But I meant to ask, we just interviewed Bolo Trends a couple days ago. You guys should definitely follow his Instagram and TikTok. If not, he is just like such a wealth of knowledge. But I wanted to ask like if he had a formula, because I kind of have a formula that I follow for my titles.
What's your
Do
formula?
You have a formula?
Mm-mm.
I mean, it's not anything crazy, but I always do brand. I am very brand heavy. You have to remember, me and Sam are very different. I am very brand heavy. Sam does like a lot of style based stuff. So,
but brand too. Mine is brand and style.
True.
Yeah. And fabric. Those are my three.
Yeah. So for me, I think if you have a brand that is desirable, that needs to be the first thing. You need to be putting your brand first right at the beginning. And then I always go like, I'm trying to think of, okay, I have something I just photographed. It's a lily silk striped silk blouse. So this is probably how I would structure it. I would put lily silk, and then I would put new in all caps so that people know that this is a new product. Because, I mean, Poshmark will tag it with like new with tags, but for me, it's really important because I sell mostly new with tags items, that they know it's new. And that's like probably why the price is the price that it is. And then if it has a style name, so I will always look up that exact item. I want to know what it is called. So if someone, because for me, if I find something that I want to buy on a website or in store, I'm going to go to Poshmark first and see if I can get it cheaper. So I will probably type in Lily Silk Camden blouse or whatever it is called. I want to find that exact blouse and I want to find it quickly. I don't want to have to scroll through. So if it has a style name, I would always put that there. And then if it's something that could be men's or women's, I will put women's size and then whatever size it is. And then after that, that's when you can add in colors. You can add in like your keywords. If it is, like more of a Y2K style, if it's a vintage style, things like that. I feel like that's when you can add in the keywords. So that is kind of mine. And I always use the 80 characters unless like I can't add in the full word. Sometimes it'll be like 75, 78 characters, but I will always try and like fill up my title with as many characters as possible just to increase the chances of it being able to be found in the search.
Totally. The other thing I like to add in my title, I agree with all of those. I don't do it in that formula. I use AI. So I have an AI project, and I have tested out a couple of different ones. So I pay for both ChatGPT. I know. ChatGPT is not great, and I also pay for Claude. I use ChatGPT only for images and I use Claude for description and everything. But I have projects or they're called, I forget what they're called in Claude. No, I think they're projects where I give it a bunch of instructions of what to do and I write out a very detailed prompt. And so it creates the title and my description based on that. But the thing I always add to the title too, which I don't know if it's good or bad, if it's something that's new with tags, I always include what the retail price is. Because if it's like something,
I will do that too.
Yeah. And then if it's not something new, I will include it in the description because I want people to know whereas Poshmark, it requires you to do that to say, what was this price originally? I like to call it out because not everybody is looking at that. And also writing the condition. I write condition in all caps inside my description because if there are flaws and in my title, if there's a flaw, I'll write -flaw, or read. Because I
think that's a really good idea. Yeah, because you don't want to be deceiving anyone. You don't want someone to think that they're getting like a perfect garment and then maybe they didn't read the description and didn't
This
know.
actually happened to me as a buyer yesterday. I bought this Ralph Lauren vintage, beautiful jacket and it didn't have that in the title. And I don't always read descriptions, which is on me. It's not on the seller.
Yeah.
She actually emailed me and she has like, 3,000 or 4,000 ratings, or maybe it was 3,400 or something like that. And she's like, hey, just want to make sure you saw in the description, this is flawed. And then I went back and I looked and it didn't have it in the title and it's very flawed. And so I was like, oh, can you cancel the order? Which was very nice of her to write, but you don't have to do that if it is in the title and you write condition all caps. So I'll write measurements are my first line. I always do my measurements as my first line. I say where I'm shipping from and that I accept offers. And then I write a sentence and I'll put condition because it's really important to me that it is very easy to flag what condition, unless it's a new condition, then I'll just be I won't do that, but I only do the caps for if there's a flaw.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a really good thing to add, especially when you're selling used things too.
Totally.
So I am pretty lazy with my descriptions. So I want to know how you do your descriptions because often I will just copy and paste my title into my description and then I will add just a few extra things. But my descriptions, they're not robust at all. I don't add a lot of extra keywords into it or anything. Exactly. I will say, you guys, this is something, sometimes I feel like maybe I'm not a very good example of what what a technical reseller should do, because I did all of the things for 2 years. I did all of the things that every person, like the general advice in the reselling community, I was doing all of those things. I was doing the measurements. I was removing the background on my pictures. I was adding a lot of keywords into my descriptions. I was spending a lot of time. And then I just realized I was spending too much time, and I backed off, and I do the bare minimum now, and things still sell. So I think that that's something to consider, and maybe something you guys should play around with on your own. Like maybe try some listings with the things and checking off all the boxes of the things that people say you should do, and then maybe do the bare minimum. Again, I'm not trying to scam any buyers, so I'm still like any relevant information I'm making sure that I include.
Maybe I'm gonna experiment with this. I think the other thing too, though, is you do have a social media audience. So I think that is the difference now between before, like 2 years ago, you didn't, right?
Mm-hmm. But I also will say I have never until the last week shared my Poshmark or my eBay with my audience.
What?
Yeah, I have never done that simply because I didn't like people like being able to find me, if that made sense.
Totally.
Like creeps being able to order from me and find my address and stuff. So I have never put that out there.
That is another one. Get a PO box, get an address, get an address somewhere. They are not expensive. You can buy an address at like a co-working space. I think it's like $20 a month at a lot of places. And I think you can get just a mailbox at the USPS. You don't even have to be a big one. It can be a small one for like $20 a month. Use that address because you do not want people having your home address.
Yeah, 100%.
Or use your storage unit or whatever if they allow you. Mine does not allow me.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But that's why. So I've never put that out there just because it does feel like if someone got pissed off at something I said on the internet and then they wanted to track me down.
No, I have had people that I know buy things from when I post on TikTok, and I don't have a big following, but when I post things and a lot of people view them, and then they sell, like I know that it's coming from there, and it can be really stressful because I am not a Michelin star restaurant. Like my consistency, I do not have a star. Like the reason you go to Nordstrom's is because they are consistent. You know what you're going to get consistently. That's why you shop at Reformation and all these different places. When you shop from a small mom and pop shops that are resellers, we might take longer on shipping. We might, the product isn't always consistent. And my main issue is shipping, or if I lose the item, like if I can't find it because my inventory is a mess, or if I don't notice a stain or something, or if like in storage, I've had it where something has scraped the leather from being in storage because it wasn't in a poly mailer bag. So, I'm always like, oh my gosh, they're going to comment on my social media and freak out. It hasn't happened yet, but it's freaky. It is freaky.
Yeah. I actually just made a big mistake, and this was totally on me, but I sold a pair of Maui Jim sunglasses, and it was weird because I have to assume that these Maui Jims came from like an eye doctor or something, because I got all these Maui Jims. Some of them are prescription, but then I also got like a bunch of other prescription glasses, like some really nice ones that I've already sold. Some of them came in the Maui Jim boxes, so they looked brand new. They even had like the style name on a sticker, and then some of them were just loose in the bag, like just floating around. And so I didn't try on all of them, and I've sent someone a pair of prescription sunglasses, and I didn't know how to prescription in them. So he got them and he was like, hey, I need to return these. They're a prescription. I cannot use these. And I'm like, yeah, that's my bad. So I'm on my to-do list today is to go try on every single pair that I've already listed and make sure to pull any of those or to go change the listing to just explain that they are prescription. But I was like, oh, yep, that was me. That was totally on me. I just didn't check.
What else? Yeah, I also think customer service, like I do not respond if people ask me measurements or whatever, unless I can get them the measurements and I can't always get them the measurements. Like I don't know where the item is, or if you're asking for measurements on, a $20 item, like I'm not going to go dig through and redo stuff. I wish I was better at it, and hopefully eventually I will. Like if I had a team, obviously it would be like somebody managing customer service, but
like, hey, this is on your list of things to do. Right.
So I think
I know. I have heard. So I wonder if you've heard this too, that like, it might have been Crossless Chic that said this, that it is really good specifically on eBay for your algorithm to be like answering messages.
it is. Same with Etsy.
Because I'm really bad at answering messages. I'm
Me
like,
too.
I don't know. Like if it doesn't feel like it's like they're actually going to purchase the thing, I probably won't respond. But I have heard it's good for your algorithm for eBay to see that you're actually like interacting with the people that are interested. So that's something to keep in mind.
That's true. Also, if you have multiple of an item, it is also good for the algorithm to say that you have multiple of it because it will push it higher in the algorithm. So make sure you do that.
Yeah.
The other thing is delisting items once they've sold. So if you're cross-listing and you are using a platform to cross-list, like I mentioned, Vendu will unsync, or, if they relist, it unsync. So I know Julie from Cautious Chic goes in and she delists every single item, because when you sell an item that has sold and you don't ship it, that also impacts not only your rating, which my eBay rating is below standard now because I had like 3 in a row that sold
I've been
elsewhere.
there.
And it takes like 6 months to get it back up. And
you really have to dig yourself out of the trenches when that happens.
Yeah. And the same thing, you'll get banned on Poshmark. So that's happened to me once. I got a 2-week ban. At the time, it was a relief for me because I was like so overwhelmed by everything. But you get a full ban and you cannot update your closet. You can't do anything. And so,
and if you rely on that income, that hurts. That hurts really bad.
And it takes a while to recover your account after that, like because you are being punished, which makes sense because you're not a reliable seller. So I think, again,
so do you have PrimeLister delisting for you, or does Vendu
I have Vendu doing my delisting.
Okay. But
then like periodically I'll go in and like just check each platform to make sure that everything, and I still miss things. So, I got to figure out a better workflow for that, because I also have Vendu relisting my eBay and Poshmark when they get stale. So if something is I think I have it set to 180 days. So if something is 180 days or older, it relists it. It needs to be at least 61 days, but I'm like, I have so much inventory that I've just bumped it to be like, I might actually bump it because I have some things from a year ago. So I might just bump it to if it's a year or older. So then and I know we're probably like, this is very nerdy and technical, and you'll understand once you get into these cross-lister platforms. Again, I do think we should do like a session on how they work.
We absolutely should.
Especially like how Nifty works, how all these different platforms work, and why we use what we use. And we've both been paid by PrimeLister before. I want to point that out. But I also only did a couple of videos for them and did not make much at all. And I still use them.
And also we have also paid for them too.
I have
been paid
thousands of dollars.
Being paid.
Me neither. Me neither.
Yeah. So I do think that, and I think I was thinking about what we were talking about earlier. I personally, I am testing out Nifty right now, but I would still recommend PrimeLister. If you were to ask me Nifty or PrimeLister, I'm going to tell you PrimeLister right now. I'm not saying that won't change in the future. If that's why I'm testing things out to make sure that I still stand by that. But I just want to put that out there. If you were going to try one, I would recommend PrimeLister to start out with.
Yep. I agree.
I did actually see that I just got an email from, like, the reason I was trying out Nifty was because they cross-list to whatnot, and hopefully PrimeLister will just do that in the future, and I will be able to use PrimeLister.
Did PrimeLister say that? Yeah, did PrimeLister say that they are?
I just saw an email come through. I don't know what they said.
Oh, wait, look at it. Let's look at it.
Let me pull up my email. Yeah, because and honestly, the contact I have with them is they're always willing to like ask and to see what their what their team is planning. Okay, let's see what she says. Whatnot is officially on our list. I've escalated your specific requirement to the team so they can prioritize it as much as possible. Realistically, it will take a month or 2 to release.
That's not bad at all.
I mean, share that, but so that's coming straight from PrimeLister. And again, I'm going to turn off my Nifty today, turn on my PrimeLister, and I'll report back next week.
2 weeks. Report back in 2 weeks. You're going to be in Disney.
Oh, yeah, 2 weeks, because I will be. Yes, thank you. But and I'll give some good time for me to gather some data because I've had my Nifty on for a couple weeks. But so I think for me, if you're looking for software to share your closet to do that stuff, PrimeLister is going to be my recommendation. I also use their cross-lister and I loved it. But Sam, you're probably going to recommend Vendu for your like workflow and for your cross listing, correct?
So I do it for my cross listing, not for my offers. So I recommend if you're only going to do one, do Prime Lister. Like if you only want to invest in one, do Prime Lister first and then expand to Vendu just because of the Prime Lister offers. Something we haven't touched on is the ambassador program on Poshmark. And I hear a lot of people, content creators on TikTok saying, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It does matter. If you have a Poshmark ambassador badge, 1 or 2, they put you up higher in the algorithm. They feature you to new buyers. There is, just because you can't see the benefit and what's happening doesn't mean that it's not happening. Just like you can't see air, it's still there.
Yeah.
Unless you're in LA.
And also, it gives you credibility. It gives you credibility too. Like if someone is coming to you and you've reached the ambassador status and they're looking like, it gives you credibility that you're doing what you need to be doing, that you're providing good customer service, that you're actually selling things. So even if it's subconscious for your buyers, it's providing some sort of credibility.
Yeah. And same with Etsy Star Seller and which I can never get because they keep removing my stuff for policy violation because they're like, oh, this is not authentic. I'm like, it literally has the authentication paperwork in, but they won't undo it. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I have.
Yeah. What do you do about that?
Yeah. And I've sold the item and it's been authenticated by a second party. So there's that. But then on Vestiaire, if you're an expert seller, which I am right now, knock on wood, they push you up in the algorithm and I notice sales immediately once I have that expert buyer badge. Wow. And so like there's the trusted buyer and then the expert buyer. And I used to know when I was an Etsy Star Seller, it would bump me way up. So regardless of what people say, it is good to prioritize those as you're just getting started because even if you haven't made that many sales and you can get there, I think Poshmark, what is it, like 30 or something that you have to make?
Yeah, I can't remember the exact. It's not outrageous though. It really isn't. They just want you to be listing and selling and providing a customer service.
Yeah. And I think on Poshmark ambassador program, don't you have to have a certain number of shares, certain number of people joining? So
yes. Yeah. They want you to be active on the platform.
Yeah. So use
and Prime Lister will do all of that for you. It literally is a hack. It really is.
I wonder if I think we do like a Prime Lister or just an overall workflow. Like if you show your workflow, I'll show my workflow. Because I think that it's like we have people who are listening who might be like one of us. And I know Julie and other people do things very differently. And Jen, who her episode is going to be up. When you're listening to this, it will have already been out. So Jen, the consignment.
Yeah, please go listen to that.
The LA consigner. So this will be up by then because, so there's that. And then anything else that you're like, this is, we didn't talk about smells and washing clothes. So I want to talk about that because I've been thinking a lot about this. So Poshmark if you get a case open for Poshmark or any of the platforms that say it smells, typically they will immediately side with the person. I have actually been winning some of those cases lately because I do not launder my products. So unless they smell, I don't launder them because even though I use all and unscented and all of that, you don't know who has an allergy. And so I don't. So I want to talk about, I'm curious because I have been having lots of thoughts because I know eBay has a requirement that the item has to be clean, which you can't do that with like a new with tags item. But what are your thoughts on laundering? Because
So this is another thing I used to do and I stopped doing. So take that for what it's worth. I started out just because like thrift stores are dirty and you never know if it was donated in clean condition. And just to like get that smell out so it wasn't like in my house. So I started out laundering. It's very time consuming. Again, you don't know what people are allergic to. You don't know what people are going to do. But you want to know the thing that made me switch is that people are laundering their items when they buy from a secondhand place anyway.
They should be. A lot of people don't.
And if
but
they're
you should.
Not, that's on them. I know. I just saw someone on social media ask in a poll, like if you buy things secondhand, do you wash them before you wear them? And it was like 98% said yes, of course we wash them. So they should be washing them. And if they're not, that's on them. That's not on you, but they should be washing things that they're buying that they know are used items.
You should be washing new too. Like when you get a new item.
100%. Yeah.
Like
they're still gross and they're
on
into contact with a lot of things. Yeah.
Plus all the chemicals. Okay, so you don't. So I wash things if I notice a flaw. So if it's something that I'm like, this has a flaw. If
there's something dirty or like crusty on it, I actually have a Obermeyer coat. Like they're very expensive. It's a down coat that it's like the cuffs are dirty. It's like literally sitting right next to my laundry basket. right now. That one I will absolutely wash because it's visibly dirty and I know I can get it out. But in general, I'm not.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, the other thing too is like being conscious about my footprint, my carbon footprint with all of this and like, what am I wasting? What am I not? Because secondhand is like obviously a lot more sustainable. Even though I'm using AI to do my descriptions and titles and all of that, I'm using thousands of times less electricity in a year than to make one new garment. So like, I'm not too worried about that as a small reseller. Granted, if we all were doing this, I don't know, it would probably, if there were like millions of people doing that, it'd be different. But, okay. So you don't wash. I used to put in my description and I kind of want to put it back, like launder upon receiving, because there are I have girlfriends who I've gone to the bins with and they'll immediately put the garment on. And one time I was like, take that off. I was like, you need to wash that. And she was like, what? And I was like, you need to go dry clean that, whatever it is. And so I think a lot of people just don't know. She also doesn't change her sheets more than once every like month or two. So, she's a very, very organized person though. And I'm like, I'm not organized, but like my sheets, my son's sheets actually need it. I'm a weekly change your sheets kind of gal.
I totally get it. Yeah, I'm not the person who could ever wear something after. I've been shopping for Disney on eBay, like for some cool vintage shirts and stuff. And I'm like, those are going straight in the wash before I'm even trying them on.
Yep.
I'm just going to wash them before. So.
Yep. I know we are running out of time. Do you want to share any cool items that you have sold in the last couple of months?
I'm trying to think. I feel like truthfully, I feel lucky that I buy palettes because I'm almost always very excited about the things that I sell because I'm very picky about the things that I list. I don't list a lot. I only list the really cool things. One thing that was kind of cool that I sold, and it's not cool for me, but maybe it's cool because it's outside of like what I normally sell, but I got this like a massive backpack toolkit and I just sold it. It is heavy. I don't know if you do this with shipping. Like on eBay for me, I'll do like free shipping if I'm selling something for over a couple $100, especially because clothing's light. I'm like, I would be happy to give you free shipping on something that I'm going to make a lot of money on. And so I don't do that on like normal items, but I love, like, I feel like it's just a little extra incentive and like a thank you for spending a lot of money with me. But this one I was like, I can't give you free shipping because it's probably going to cost me $25 to ship, but it sold for $180 in like 2 days. And it is massive. It is just like such a large little toolkit. And I think it's just proof that like I sell clothes, but you can sell anything.
Literally anything.
There is a market for anything. What about you? What is something recent you've sold that's cool?
So I told you about the fur jacket I sold for my neighbor, right? So that was cool. The Juicy Couture. And then I sold my Dries Van Noten. I got this beautiful tank top I wanted to keep for myself. Dries Van is just a very expensive brand. And this was a vintage beaded top. I kind of wish I did keep it for myself because I let it go so cheap.
But it was beautiful.
Other than that, not too much lately. But free shipping I don't do because I do international shipping. So that is something that when you're setting up your eBay, and this is, I think, why Amanda's like, start with Poshmark because it is domestic in the US. And you don't have to do any of that stuff. So I fully agree. But once you get into eBay, I sell a lot of stuff internationally on Etsy, eBay, and Vestiaire. And Depop, no, because I don't like, you have to, I don't know. So I don't know. I don't do free shipping because oftentimes shipping internationally is so expensive with tariffs and all of that. And so I'm just like, it's too complicated. I just do calculated shipping, but I do make sure that I'm not overpricing stuff typically. Which I know a lot of sellers overprice it to make a few dollars on their shipping.
Yeah. I don't like that.
Yeah. So I think,
I mean, price it for what it's worth. And
I do want to do a session for showing different workflows. So we should have like a few different people on, and then I'll see if we can have like Vendu come on. And no, I'll probably train it instead because like Vendu has all these quirks that I have learned over the last year and a half I've been using them.
No, that would be so helpful. I do really quick. I want to share, I asked on my Instagram stories what other resellers, what their advice for new sellers would be. So I have it up here. I'm going to run through this for you. I just think it's good to kind of crowdsource and to see like what other people, what their advice would be. And a lot of these are like really quick. So I'll just give you like a handful of them. not to take too much time, but I think it's really helpful. One that really stuck out to me, my friend Spencer out west, you guys should go follow all of these people. They're all amazing. She said, hire a tax professional. She said, and I'm like, shout that from the rooftops, hire a CPA. You just have to, it keeps things so much more organized. You're going to do things correctly. So hire a CPA. I love that. She also says, just because a brand retails for a lot doesn't mean it will resell for a lot. And that is a great thing to remember.
Yep.
I love that.
Unless it's the row.
Yeah, right. And there are also plenty of brands that resell for a lot and retail for a lot, but some that is not always that. I had something in a pallet, and it was there was like something that retailed for $400 still on their website. I could find comps for $20. I'm like, how? Like, that doesn't seem right. I'm gonna list them much higher, and I'm doing a little experiment with it because I'm like, I wonder, or were people just like literally
not knowing? A lot of people
cheap?
don't know. Like on Depop, Drees Van Noten you can get for $30, and it's like $1,300 because people just don't know and they don't do the research because they're going fast.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, you don't know. And
exactly. And another thing I will say for newer resellers is like, just be willing to do it and make mistakes. Just keep doing it and keep making mistakes, and you're going to learn. And nothing is like that deep. Like, everything you do, you're able to correct. Like, if you make a mistake, you can apologize. You can refund somebody. You might lose a little bit of money here and there, but like, just keep going, and you can learn by experience in this business a lot. So
agreed.
Okay, here's another one. I'm scrolling through. This one is like a 4-part. It's from Sammy Fines. She says, as a brand new reseller myself, staying consistent and don't throw in the towel when it gets hard. Connect with your peers and support other sellers. I love that so much because it's a lonely job. And then she says, take every opportunity that comes your way to help promote you and your business. And most of all, stay positive. Go into every interaction like you will sell a lot. And then also she's saying with Whatnot, that like your buyers are feeding off of you. So I think that's good advice too. I really like that. Another quick one is learn fabrics, which that's a really great tip. A really, really great tip. And also like, I feel like that's something, it's really fun when you start knowing fabrics. Like, I will grab something out of a pallet before I see a tag or anything. I'm like, no, that's linen. No, that's silk. Like, you just get to know that. And I think like that'll help speed up your process in the thrift store too.
I would say to add to that, get to know your brands as well.
Yes. I mean, just watch so many brand videos. There's so much information out there and maybe we should do that sometime, kind of just like give our top 20 brands or top 10 brands for people to be on the lookout for, because there are a lot of brands out there and you just kind of have to start stacking that in the back of your brain. Okay, I'm going to give just a couple more.
We should put this up on our Substack that we don't yet have, that we will have. Will you text me those so I can get them up?
Yeah, I will. Absolutely. Okay. Trins Thrift Shop. She is awesome as well. You can find her on Instagram. She says, time is money and it's too precious to waste. Just because an item is 99 cents at the thrift store doesn't mean it's worth your time. And I think that's something we didn't tap into, but like checking sell-through rate, making sure that you're only buying items that are actually going to sell is very important. And I think that is an absolute key.
Yeah.
So, okay, we'll stop there. We have so many of them, but it is like, there's a lot of really good advice out there, and we appreciate anyone that like messaged into us because it is really helpful to get other people's perspective too.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll get those up so you can see them all. But I mean, this could be like a whole series of for new resellers. What do you do? Or for people who are kind of stuck or want to throw in the towel, like what are some levers that you could pull? So hopefully, if you are not new, but maybe you're feeling a bit stagnant, this was a good episode for you. And next week, we are going to have Musso on from Bolo Trends.
Yes, it was such a good conversation. You guys are going to learn so much. If you're wondering about how to structure your keyword or like structure your listings, if you're worried about keywords, he's going to give you a lot of tips. So
amazing. Well, thank you all for listening, and we will see you next week. And Amanda, have fun in Disney.
Thank you. We'll see you guys later.